Hey guys, it's Bree here with Blossom & Branch, and today I thought we'd do something fun and make the most expensive bouquet that I can hold. So I actually saw You Can't Eat the Grass do a really fun video about a $1,000 bouquet, and I think it's really fun to show what those look like. So what we're starting with are some of our most valuable flowers here at the farm. So that means we are starting with roses, dahlias, a few fillers, and the one thing that I'm leaving off this list that we grow that's also one of our higher dollar flowers are the lisianthus, and that's just because they aren't quite blooming yet. So we're gonna start with our garden roses. I'm gonna count how many stems I have. I basically picked what I had that hadn't been eaten by Japanese beetles, and I do have a video coming up this weekend about Japanese beetles, so stay tuned for that one. Some of the varieties that we have in this bundle here, we have these darker orange, Our Lady of Shallot. These lighter peach, these ones are Roald Dahl over here. Those are both David Austin's. These pinkier ones here are Queen of Sweden, pinkies and peachies here. So we're gonna start with those, and I have, let me count my stems, 14, 20, 21, 22, 23, 44, 45 stems of garden roses. So our garden roses are the most valuable flower that we grow here at the farm, and they wholesale for almost $5 a stem. Now that might seem like sticker shock to you now, because now we're able to get a dozen roses in the store for $10. I talked about it in a video before, but the Ecuadorian and Colombian rose trade and how the American government cut all the tariffs on imported roses, basically killing the American flower grower. I don't like the roses that you get at the grocery store. They have zero personality. These garden roses are gorgeous. They smell good, unlike the ones you get at the grocery store. They are pesticide free, also unlike the ones you get at the grocery store that are literally dipped in pesticides and fungicides. And the reason that they're so expensive for us to grow is A, harvest is really time consuming on them. So we have to be careful that we're cutting in the right spot, that we're not sticking ourselves with thorns. It's time consuming to strip the thorns and to get these processed. They're also an expensive plant for us to grow, to keep up with deadheading, winterizing them, pruning them. They are just a high maintenance plant. So that's why garden roses are almost $5 a stem. So if we have 45 stems of garden roses times $5, we're gonna start by calculating the wholesale value, that is how much these would cost if we sold them to a florist to then sell retail. Sticker shock. Next we've got our dahlias. Now dahlias are not quite as expensive as the roses, but they still are expensive, and especially in my zone because we have to dig them up every year. Now, of course, we've learned that we can winterize them here in my zone 5-6, leave them in the ground, which saves us a lot of work, but the price for wholesale on dahlias is around $4 a stem in my market. That wholesale price is the price that florists are buying them at. So we have 25 stems of dahlias here at $4 a stem. Now the dahlia varieties that I have here, I have some Cornell Bronze, which are these kind of more orangey tones. I have some Jowie Winnie, which are these pinkier, peachier tones. And then I have a smattering of a few other things that have started to bloom, like our little wine-eyed Jill here. So those are the dahlias that we are using here today. And for filler, I have a couple of bunches of some mixed Rudbeckia. So we have Rudbeckia triloba here, which is this kind of dancy little yellow one. And then we have Rudbeckia Sahara. And the Rudbeckia Sahara are these kind of pinkier, peachier ones. We grow both of those from seed. Now to tie off these stems, I have a beautiful silk ribbon, and this has been hand dyed with sumac plant. And so this also adds a little bit to our final total. This ribbon wholesales for about $10. So we're gonna add that on at the end. Let's start building our bouquet. I'm gonna be removing most of the foliage here because I think otherwise my hands are going to be quite full. Now I'm not really gonna crisscross this bouquet because it's gonna get too big for my hand. So I'm just gonna kind of continue adding these on. If you wanna see how we usually build bouquets, when I'm trying to make it look like there are more blooms than there actually are, you can go check out one of our bouquet tutorials, but for now, I'm basically just gonna be feeding these together and holding them straight up and down, because otherwise I'm not gonna be able to hold this when I'm done. And when we're done, we're gonna calculate the total value If you were to buy this from a florist with all of the grocery store flowers that are so readily available, and I'm talking Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, Kroger, Safeway, all of those are counted as grocery store flowers. I know you might think that your Trader Joe's flowers are local. I'm sorry to tell you that they are sourced from the same place as all the others. So those grocery store flowers and how cheap they are, most grocery stores use those as a loss leader. They take a loss on the sale of those flowers. They don't actually make money on selling those flowers. They just sell them because it gets people in the door and it gets people walking through the store. So flowers for most grocery store retailers are loss leaders. And that money is not going back to our American farmers. It's a real shame. All right, it's already getting a little bit hard to hold, but we're gonna keep going.
I think it's marvelous.
Oh, you think it's marvelous? Thank you, Cora.
Marvelous means really pretty.
Marvelous does mean really pretty. Ah, my hand. My hands are gonna start having to hold it with two hands here. I'm gonna need another hand to finish tying this off, so I'm gonna call Kaisa in. All right, there it is. Okay, so I'm calling in my lovely assistant here. So what you're gonna do, sweetie, is you're gonna find the end. I'm holding it, so now just go around with the wire. Pull it tight every time, tight. So the last thing we're gonna do is attach this ribbon, and then we're gonna go ahead and give the stems a little trim. So I'm just gonna let this bouquet sit on the table because holding it is quite difficult. If I sold this, I would definitely sell it in a vase because as a wrapped bouquet, it's just gonna be way too big. So then if we were selling it in a vase, we'd be adding on the cost of the vase as well. All right, so we're gonna go around, and I'm just gonna leave the ends loose so that you can see this beautiful ribbon. I'm just gonna do a really basic double knot, just like so. Now on top of our wholesale costs, we're gonna do a 3 times markup. Markups are different depending on the florist. So some florists charge 3 times, some do up to 4.5 to 5 times for things like weddings. And that's because you're encompassing a design fee. You're also factoring in overhead costs, insurance costs, labor, materials, all of that stuff that goes into running a business. So there we go. Total cost on my end, around $350. Total cost to sell with a 3 times markup. Total cost to sell with a 3 times markup, $1,050. With a 4 times markup, $1,400. We're gonna go ahead and get these in some water because I'm stressing about having this much in money in my hands. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll be seeing you guys here around the farm soon. Say bye.
Bye.
Bye.